Hi, people. Okay, good morning. It is morning here. I don't know where you're watching me from, but I'm in Nigeria and this is past 11. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching me from. And so, today, so many questions have been coming and on how to start up a profitable catfish farming from the scratch. And so today I'm about to unleash some points or some steps that will lead you to a profitable catfish farming from the scratch. Number one, when you want to start up, one thing is catfish is a non-seasonal product, and the demand, especially in Nigeria, outweighs supplies. So the demand is huge. The demand is huge. A lot of people did. In fact, the is not meeting up. It's not meeting up with the supply is not meeting up with the demand. And so today, I want to tell us on how you can start it up from scratch. Number one, you need to look at your space. Do you have space for it? Do you want to do it for consumption? Do you want to do it for on a large scale, on a small scale? You want to do it for consumption? You want to sell out to people? If you want to do that, you need to look out for space. If it is for consumption, you might look around you, your compound, just around you, where if you can find a space for it, because you need space. If it's large, you need to look for a land. And so, if you have this space, the next thing you need to look at is what kind of pond do I want to? We have different kinds of pond. We have the earthen pond, we have the concrete pond, we have the tarpaulin pond, we have the plastic or tank pond. But now, your space determines the kind of pond you want to go for. You know, for tarpaulin, for plastic, it requires a reasonably maybe small space. But if you are going for concrete earthen pond, it requires a reasonable space. So your space now determines the kind of pond you should go for. And also your capital determines the money you have in your pocket will determine the kind of pond you want to go for. So going for plastic and tarpaulin, it's cost effective. So if you have just some little amount of money, because catfish farming is actually capital intensive, but if you have, it depends on what you want to go for, the kind of pond you want to go for, the capacity you want to farm. Then when you look at that, you now begin to look at water, the water source. Do you have water? Availability of water is very, very key. You want to use borehole, well, if you're using well, it has to be clean well. And if you're able to pump it out, it will be easier for you because using well is not really easy. Okay, for earthen pond, you have a stream or a river you can use for earthen pond and for your earthen pond, because your earthen pond needs to be pumping out and pumping in water. So these are basically, you need water. Water source is very, very important. River, stream, well, borehole. And if you're staying at, I know a lot of people that have called and said, where I stay, we use pipe-borne water, this government running water. Usually they treat this water with chlorine. So if you must use that kind of water, you must have a storage tank where you can store your water. You need to store it for up to 5 to 7 days so that the activeness of the chlorine will go down and you'll be able to use it for your fish. If not, if you use it directly on your fish, it could lead to mortality. So if you're using pipe-borne water, you need to get a storage tank where you can store your water for like up to 5 to 7 days before using it. So the next thing we're going to go into is fingerlings or juveniles. Now, the sources of your catfish it likely depends on the quality and the health of the fingerlings you buy. So you need to ask questions. It's not just going to buy fingerlings because you want to stock. You just no. You need to ask questions because most times the parents of the fingerling, that's the broodstock, matters that breeds this fingerling. So you need to ask questions. You need to be sure of the hatchery. You need to ask questions. Get your fingerlings or juvenile from a reputable hatchery. And if you're doing it for the first time, I would advise you go for juvenile because juveniles are a little grown. They've stayed up to 7-8 weeks. So it will be easy for you to do what? For you to farm. So, but if you have a good guidance or mentor, you could do any. So if you do these things are things you do to avoid some costly mistakes. Honestly, there are mistakes and if you get yourself into these mistakes, it will lead to fatality. In fact, you'll be crying. Maybe after doing for the first time, you will not want to go back. I've seen a lot of people after doing farming for the first time, the first cycle, and you ask them, when are you stocking? They say, no, I want to rest a little. So you need your space, you need pond, you need water, and you need good fingerlings to avoid some costly mistakes. And if I want to talk about the costly mistakes, what am I talking about? See, there's something we call pond preparation. Before you stock, you see all these ponds I'm talking about, ponds, these concrete pond, earthen pond, tarpaulin ponds, plastic or tank ponds. These ponds need preparation. You don't just get the ponds and stock, no, because you have water and you have your pond and you just stock, no. They have their various forms of preparation. And if you're doing especially concrete or earthen pond, you need an expert to help you out. You need an expert to help you out because it's not something you can just, as a starter, you just barge in and do on your own. No. You need somebody to help you out. You need an expert to guide you on doing this. And after that, there is pond preparation. There's preparation for a form of preparation for concrete. There's form of preparation for earthing. There's form of preparation for tarpaulin and tank or plastic pond. So you need to do adequate pond preparation to make sure that your fingerlings or juveniles survives in that pond. Yes, because if you don't do it, I've seen someone, she just constructed her concrete pond. The person that constructed it did not tell her that she needs to even wait for the cement to dry and all that. And the next thing she just stocked and all her fishes, that was how she lost all her fishes. So whether it's tarpaulin, whether it's concrete, earthen, tank, you need to do what we call pond preparation before you stock. And then the next thing is proper feeding. When you stock, proper feeding, you need to know how to feed them. Okay, before I even talk about proper feeding, I need to talk about stocking density. A lot of people don't know how to even stock. You think just like what I'm saying, not just to get fingerlings and just stock. No. A particular size of pond has the number of fishes that it can contain. So you need to know how many fishes can a 1,000-liter capacity pond contain. These are things you need to know so that they have space to grow, enough space to do what? To grow. Then after that, we talk about feeding. You need to know how to feed them. You don't just come feed them and go, no. You need to be there and feed them to what they can eat between 10 to 15, 20 minutes. And you need to be there with them. You need to be patient while they are eating so that you don't leave they will not be leftovers on the pond. So you just stay, you drop the feeds for them and they feed. As they are eating, you're dropping. As they're eating, you're dropping. As they're eating, you're dropping. So with that, you know when they are okay and you stop feeding them. And if peradventure they are on eating feeds on top of the water, you use something to scoop it out. You might not even throw it away. You might just sun it. And the next time you're going to feed them, you feed together with those ones that you have removed. So you don't need to waste your feed. You don't need to throw them away. And next thing, and you know something, it is at this point of feeding that you also notice their whether they are diseased. So these are ways that you can control disease. So it is at the point of feeding, as you're feeding them, you're watching them, you're feeding them, you're watching them. These are the time that you will notice if any fish is diseased, and you quickly do what? Isolate that fish and begin to treat the fish. And as you're treating that fish, you will also treat the ones in the pond. You don't just leave those ones because you don't know what would have happened. So immediately you see any diseased fish, you quickly do what? Isolate that fish, quarantine that fish. Then you begin to treat and begin to treat it. And as you're treating it, you're treating the ones left in the main pond. And with that, you'll be able to control disease to a large extent. And as you are able to control it, you're also controlling mortality. And you will not be part of those people that say, I stocked 1,000 fishes and all the fishes that I'm able to just get 100, I'm able to harvest, I have just 100. No, because you're careful and you know what you're doing, you monitor your water, you change their water regularly. Especially if you're using concrete, you're using tarpaulin tank and plastic. You need to be changing their water regularly. For those with 18 pond, their water, you don't change them regularly, and you need to be sorting them. See, some people will say, it's a laugh when some people say, you know they are eating themselves. Yes, they are carnivorous in nature. Yes, we know. So that's why sorting and grading is very, very important. Once your fishes are up to 8 weeks, you sort. And if you sort them at that 8 weeks, every month you sort them. In fact, depending on how they are growing very fast, 2 weeks, sort them so that they will not have opportunity to eat themselves. So you grade them, the bigger ones on one tank or on one pond, the smaller ones on one pond. So you do sorting and do what? And grading. Yes. So water management is key. Please, you change your water regularly. Make sure that uneaten feeds are removed. And so with this, you'll be able to control a lot of things. And also remember security measures. Security measures, very, very important. Make sure that your farm is not a sightseeing center, is not a place for sightseeing. It's not where people come and say, come and see. No, it's not a museum or an amusement park. No, your farm is your business. So you need to put in some security measures. Okay? So if you have any other thing, you have questions, please, you can drop it on the comment section and I will be there to attend to you. And so I'll be coming up with some other topics to just make us become knowledgeable of how to farm catfish, so that you not be among those people that will farm for just one circle and say no to it. It is profitable, I tell you. It is profitable. And as you're doing it, make sure of your marketing strategy. You need to use any means at all. Word of mouth, social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram. You need to tell people, let people know. In fact, do not leave a person without telling the person what you do as a business person. You need to tell them what you do so that they will know that, okay, you're into this, and when they need it. So just spray your gospel. They said it's not a good business or a good product that sells. It is a well-known good product that sells. So thank you, and do your marketing very well, and you see yourself at the top. God bless you. See you next time.